Welcome guys, Mr. B's back. I'm here doing the next video series in the Novid workshop series on anatomy and physiology. These videos are made to help you out with your digestive section, and we're having to go online, so we're going to do it through video stuff. Alright, so I should have mentioned in the last video, and the last video was on salivary glands. I hope you saw it. I should have mentioned that at the end of the video, after you get done with the video, I would go on Canvas and I would check out at the bottom of that left-hand list where it's in blue letters, the menu on the left side for anatomy and phys class, like way under where it says things like assignments and all that. There's a little thing called Study Mate. And if you click on Study Mate, I'm going to have a Study Mate assigned to each video. In other words, I would check out the video, then I would get on, I'd do whatever notes I would normally take on that, just like you would in class, but then I'd go down in Canvas and I'd find the Study Mate for salivary glands. And you're going to see probably 5 questions, it's quick and it's easy. It's like a quick review to see how well you got what you need to know on that last video. So I should have told you that. I also should have told you that I should be numbering the videos in series. I didn't number the last one. Alright, I should have been a 1 on it. But the first one was on salivary glands. We're going to the teeth today. We're going to find out about teeth and the digestive system. And so this one's going to be number 2, and at the end of this video I will go down in Study Mate. Is it called Study Mate? Yes, Study Mate. And there's going to be like a 5-question quick little review on teeth and why we have teeth and the whole purpose of teeth. So, now, this virus is going around. It's a negative thing, it's a bad thing, but it's always a good time to point out the positives. And there's several positives about this. For me, maybe for you too, one of the positives is I get to teach and I get to wear whatever I want. Whatever I want. So if I want to wear Auburn gear, which I will, this is an old sweatshirt, it's dirty from college. I had this ever since I was in college. I get to wear this. I normally don't get to do that. I also get to wear something I've never gotten to wear at all during teaching. The best shoe ever, Crocs. Miss Bostrom, this is for you. I finally get to wear Crocs in the classroom. So that's one of the benefits. Also, a benefit is we get to be in the shop. You know, I love my shop and I love this area. I've got tools that are going to help us out today, believe it or not, when we study the teeth. So we get to be in a different place. A third thing is I get to show off my buddy, which I couldn't do before. Dak, where are you? Dak. Dak? I swear the dog's in here a second ago. Dak. Come here. Oh, there you are, little buddy. Good boy. This is my little buddy Dak. Alright, he's a rescue dog. He's awesome. In fact, he's got a lot of experience with teeth. And we might ask him a few questions today, see if he can help us out. But I get to show off Dak. I normally wouldn't get to do that. But let's go ahead and get started. We're talking about teeth today on the Novid workshop series. And so, what are you doing, Dak? It's a workshop series because we're in my workshop. We're in my workshop. It's dirty and nasty. I feel completely comfortable in my workshop. So let's go to video number 2, digestive series. We're talking about teeth in this particular thing. First of all, I want you to know that teeth are the hardest structure in the human body. Enamel specifically, harder than bone, harder than ligaments, harder than any part of your cartilage. Hardest structure in the human body is teeth, the enamel. It's only 2 proteins different than skeletal system, than bone tissue. So it's not classified in the skeletal system. Teeth are classified in the digestive system. And so they're going to be part of, obviously, the mechanical breakdown of food. So I highly recommend you go to page 660 and you look at that diagram of the teeth and you find out where the tooth is, where the enamel part is, where the dentin is, where the root canal is. I'm sorry if I scared you by saying root canal, but most of us hate that word, root canal. But it's actually part of the anatomy of the tooth. And let's go ahead and get started in our lesson for teeth. Alright, so we're in the digestive system. We're still in the school bus, the Miss Frizzle school bus, but we're right here. And we're getting lucky because those big old teeth are missing the school bus, and they're not killing us, but they're chomping everything that's around us. So we're going now to the teeth. Several things you need to know about teeth. First of all, there are 2 types of teeth. One type of tooth is called deciduous, a deciduous tooth. The deciduous tooth's other name is called the primary tooth. These are primary teeth. Now, you may have seen this word somewhere else, and this word is part of the reason I love Tennessee. The deciduous trees that we have here, the leaves turn color, and then what do the leaves do every year? they fall off. And that's what decidu means in Latin. They fall out of your face. So you might know that these teeth, we call them baby teeth, but don't call them baby teeth on the test. They're called deciduous teeth, or primary teeth. Now, you're going to have 20 of them. There's going to be 20 primary teeth. So let's say that little, excuse me, let's say little Johnny is a rich little kid. All right, and let's say the tooth fairy visits little Johnny, and little Johnny gets 10 bucks a tooth that fell out of his head. I got a quarter, so I'm a little bit jealous of little Johnny if he gets 10 bucks a tooth. How many total bucks would little Johnny get for falling out teeth, deciduous teeth from the tooth fairy? Well, 10 times the number of deciduous teeth, which is 20, and that's going to be $200. Now, let's try to answer the question, why? Why do you start out with deciduous teeth? Why don't you just start out with permanent teeth? Why not just have your adult teeth already in place? Well, you need to know about sizes, for example. Like the size of a baby's jaw is so small, you would not be able to fit big teeth into that jaw. So because we grow quite a bit later, we have to start out with a small size, and then later the bigger teeth, the adult teeth, are going to erupt, and they're going to come up through, push through, and take the place of the primary or the deciduous teeth as they fall out. Know this number 20, it's going to be on the test. Don't you miss it, it's only 20 teeth. I may put a crazy math question in there where you try to find out how much a kid gets for the teeth that fell out of their face. Alright, we also have not only deciduous teeth, but we have teeth that we call them the adult teeth. And you should all be able to tell me what these would be called here. Because if you have a primary, you also have to have a secondary teeth. These are called secondary teeth. Now, how many adult teeth do you have? You might want to pause the video and use your tongue and just go ahead and count them up. And if you count like I count them, I'm counting 28. I'm counting 28. But I have to remember I had 4 removed when I was late when I had my wisdom teeth. I was like 22, I think, when I finally had mine removed. So the total number of adult teeth should be 32 adult teeth. Okay, so you should have 32 teeth. If you have not had your wisdom teeth removed, you probably have 28 if you have. Now this changes though if you're a Crimson Tide fan, because they got a total of about 8 to 12 normally. But you and I, we probably have 28 adult teeth, all right? And that's 32 total because of the wisdom teeth. Now the wisdom teeth, they tend to come in impacted, so it's hard for them to fit. So they cause a lot of pain as they try to squeeze their way in. And so people like to get them taken out to avoid the amount of pain and the pressure that happens from the adult teeth. All right, so now we know basically our teeth. So our teeth are also divided into 3 major types of teeth. And you already knew this because when you're brushing your teeth as a little kid, you know the teeth in the front. You already know what they're called. And they're called the incisors. Alright, the sharp teeth in the front. The purpose of the incisors is to cut off a big piece of food. I'm sorry, I'm still coughing. But let's say you took an apple and you want to get a big bite of an apple. People use their incisors. They go right in the front, sharp, big teeth. They cut off relatively large pieces. Essentially, their job is to cut off large pieces of food. Alright, so if we go back from the incisors, then we're going to have some that are called the canines. The canines, they're the sharper teeth, the pointy teeth. And you have 2 major canines. I don't think Count Dracula, think vampires, those teeth. On your dog, the really large canines. The canines are there essentially for gripping and tearing. For example, if I gave you a piece of beef jerky, nobody does like this with beef jerky. You move it to your canines and you would grip and tear a pretty large piece also with your canines. If I gave you a piece of celery, you probably would use your canines to rip and tear a large piece off of the celery. But that's for gripping and tearing. The last major type of tooth, and you can break these down into cuspids and bicuspids and all these different names, but you have to know for the test, the last one is called your molars. Now these are the relatively flat teeth in the back, okay? They're pretty flat. And you've got several of them. The last being the wisdom teeth that are probably taken out. If you're, I don't know, if you're 18, you probably have them taken out. So, your molars, which are pretty dang interesting, they are for grinding into what we call sand-sized pieces. So you're looking for sand-sized pieces if you have molars. In other words, if you take a bite of apple, you're going to take a bite off with your incisors. You're going to take your tongue and shift that to the back to the molars, and then you're going to grind it up into sand-sized pieces with your molars. Now, believe it or not, humans have a pretty incredible bite force, a pretty incredible bite pressure, and there are some crazy stories about people biting into other people with a tremendous bite force, I should say, using these large incisors and canines. Just crazy stories with this. Now, since I like to do things to where hopefully you remember them, let's go ahead and do a little demonstration to check out the purpose of these teeth. Alright, so let's first go with an apple, and let's say, ask the question, why do we have teeth? Alright, why not just swallow food with giant bits, like a grape? Just throw a grape in, no teeth, no chewing, just swallow the grape. Well, let's say this is a grape. I don't know, it's obviously an apple, but let's say it's not. Now, we want salivary amylase to touch as much of it as possible. So let's say we just swallowed this apple and it went down, and salivary amylase would only be able to touch the surface area on the outside. But thankfully we have our incisors, and our incisors go like what this machete is going to do. They're going to take that apple and they're going to do what with it? Well, you had that much surface area before, but now your incisors have that much, but also you created more surface area. In other words, you want your enzymes to affect as much as possible of this source of food, and so you cut it to increase the surface area so it can do that. Nobody forgets that on the test. It's going to be on your test. You're just trying to increase surface area. Now, after you cut into the apple with your incisors and increase the surface area, you shift it back to your molars. And now our molars are going to come into play. So let's just say that this is our mouth, and we're going to put the apple in our mouth, and then let's just take some molars. That looks like a molar, doesn't it? And let's just see what happens to it. This is why I like having class in a wood shop. We're going to take that apple and we're going to grind it into sand-sized pieces. Did we increase the surface area of that apple? Yeah, about 1,000 times. Yes, a whole bunch. So now my salivary amylase can affect those carbohydrates that are in there, or whatever else my gastric enzymes can do, can affect it more because it can touch more of it. The more surface area you create, the better at digestion you're going to be. Now Dak is now looking for food scraps because he thinks there's a meal waiting for him, but he won't like this meal when he gets it. Alright, so now you know purpose of teeth. Remember page 660, and remember at the end of this video, go down, check out StudyMate in Canvas, bottom left, and take the little quiz on that. See how much of this that you remember. This is Mr. V. I'm signing out from video 2 of Novid 19 series, workshop series. You guys have a wonderful day.